Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely wonderful day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. You know what that means. We got the Ethereum ETFs and prices haven't fallen down to zero. Therefore, super mega awesome optimism news. Samson Mow, Chief Executive Officer at Bitcoin-focused company Jan3, and is a very well-known Bitcoin maximalist, like near Michael Saylor levels. Like, whoa, he really loves Bitcoin. Has commented on the latest Bitcoin price surge, which allowed the biggest cryptocurrency to regain 71,000 US dollars. Mao has again predicted what he is calling the coming of an Omega Bitcoin candle. So, if you've ever seen any analysts talk about numbers and lines and charts and reds and greens, there's like good candles and bad candles. There's green candles, there's red candles. There's price goes up, price goes down. A lot of the idea recently has been that Bitcoin is getting ready to or is going to have a gigantic price surge. But this isn't like a normal surge. This is kind of go away. It's like a fly. How did you get in here? It's this kind of Bitcoin will get to $100,000 based on one gigantic surge kind of idea. And as we move ever closer to, you know, the end of June, early July timeframe, that's when we heard we would have a $100,000 plus Bitcoin. Therefore, the calls for an Omega candle. An Omega candle, as Mao explained in a recent interview and in multiple tweets, is a large... This article is ridiculous. It literally says an Omega candle is a large trading candle on a Bitcoin chart. What? I would have never guessed that. That's crazy. Who thought of that one? Accompanied by high volatility moves. I guess that's all we need to know, because that's, you know, I guess that's the Omega candle. And then here's the tweet. Yeah, very popular because Samson Mow, Kathy Wood, Michael Saylor, fourth person and fifth person who's always in the news, are now saying, I mean, and we've known that Bitcoin is like hyper undervalued. But when you're a billionaire and you say it, oh my gosh, it has so much more weight to it, because, you know, rich people know everything. So therefore, Samson Mow saying it is like, whoa, Omega Bitcoin is coming our way. He also even has like a little like Omega emoji. I didn't even know they made those. Cool. So it's always nice to see the continued optimism for our market, no matter literally what happens. You know, because we should actually be a lot higher in price, just based off of simple math. Also, I guess tying into this as well, recent daily inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs are nearly 6 to 7 times the daily Bitcoin supply generated through mining. What? Since when? On the 20th of May, Bitcoin ETFs purchased over 3,400 BTC, significantly outpacing the daily mining rate of 415 BTC. This contributed to the final US Bitcoin ETF inflows of $235 million for the day, translating to 3,518 against a weekly mining total of 3,150. As per data from HODL 15 Capital, someone named their company HODL 15 Capital. As it turns out, the Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs were also the net buyers on Monday. Yeah, this has been happening for a while, but whenever prices go down by 3%, people keep pretending that this buying isn't happening. Mathematically, we should be at a $125,000 plus Bitcoin. There's no way around it. It is, I mean, and the only reason that we're getting around it is because these companies are buying OTC. They're literally, like, we know that they're buying from Coinbase and other crypto exchanges and the people who are mining Bitcoin without it actually touching a cryptocurrency exchange. So this is how they're able to buy up 7 times the amount of apples that are being created on a tree every single day. And while everyone else continues going hungry, people keep pretending that this accumulation isn't happening. So, yeah, it's quite fascinating to see. I always wonder, I mean, this is like a constant in my life, when the masses are going to realize. I think that's a very big question mark for me as well, because we keep getting this news every single day, but a lot of people keep pretending it's not happening. So, yeah. And once again, you know, this is not all the ETFs. This is literally just the US ones that we're normally talking about. And also the Hong Kong ones are also doing exceptionally well as well, but they're never in the news. So we got some Omega candle news and also daily, you know, 6-7 times, and before it was 13 times. And even that remember that one day where the ETF inflows was just the entire daily supply, and people were like, well, hope it gets better. Yeah, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before, and it keeps happening every single day. And as long as people are going to continue to ignore it, when Bitcoin gets to $1 million, I really want everyone to remember these moments. That's the ETFs are buying as much Bitcoin as they possibly can every single day. And yeah, let's move on. So, if you've been watching the last couple of videos, you've noticed that there's been a trend of, is delusionalism a word? I feel like it's not, but it fits. Delusionalism, delusionistics. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's jealousy. I'm not sure if people literally don't know what numbers are, but we've been getting a large amount of companies and people who are talking about things in the cryptocurrency space as if we are incapable of looking at actual numbers. So this was also a relatively popular news story. I don't know why they did it, but it's in the news. The foundation behind Algorand has attracted mixed feelings over a new advertisement that takes a big swipe at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, suggesting that they are not suitable for payments. So, nicely. Solana's venture capital garbage. And just gonna say this lightly. We know that Ethereum and Bitcoin are slow. That's why their main narrative isn't like, use me daily for payments. And I mean, even more so, there are multiple layered solutions for payments for Ethereum, but Ethereum is meant to be a world computer, not necessarily a payments network. It is, but it's also not meant to be. And with Bitcoin, we know that Bitcoin only does 3 transactions per second. Regardless of how you might feel, it's still the number one coin and will always continue to be. But we also see companies like every crypto exchange and Visa and MasterCard and PayPal, getting into the Lightning Network, because that's going to be the way that people will transact and are transacting already with Bitcoin. But in the future, it's going to be all nearly on the Lightning Network. So, right, I get what they're going for, but it's also like that's not how things work. On the 23rd of May, the Algorand Foundation released a new advertisement on the YouTubes titled, "When Blockchains Meet the Real World, Only One Delivers," end quote. The ad features a supermarket checkout with shoppers, I would hope so, attempting to pay, I would hope so, in 3 different type of crypto assets. They are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. During the ad, the guy trying to pay with Bitcoin is told by the cashier that he would have to wait because the transaction would take 27. This is in 2017. Oh gosh, that the transaction would take 27 minutes. The Ethereum payer is told that the transaction would cost $112 in fees, and the shopper who chose Solana cried because they realized that the blockchain had collapsed. That's actually kind of what they said. They said that they couldn't because the transaction kept on failing. At least they got one thing correct there. The camera, oh boy, here we go. The camera then panned to the next checkout queue, processing customers instantly using Algorand with the captions, "Instant finality, low fees, designed for the speed of life." Oh boy, that's cringy. So, Algorand, for those of you who don't know, is a blockchain. And I said it that way because Algorand is never in the news anymore. It's not meant to be funny. It's meant to just be truthy. So, year or two ago, the biggest and only news that we got was that Algorand, I believe, had partnered with FIFA. You know, like the football organization. And I think we also got news recently that I think that FIFA also chose another chain. So they will be using Algorand and another chain at some point in the future for FIFA digital collectibles. It's no small feat. You know, it's kind of, wow, golf clap or football clap, whatever that might actually be. But since then, there's been no, I mean, once again, as someone who goes over daily Algorand news, in a year and some change, I've seen no Algorand news. So I can say that with, a heavy amount of confidence. No one on a daily basis is using Algorand. There has never been and will never be after this moment a discussion of using Algorand for payments. Because if we can be completely clear here, the Lightning Network, XRP, and Cardano all exist. Just kind of throw that one out there. I don't understand the reason for this ad. I feel like in a situation where you're not going to win, the last thing you should do is pretend that you were in the race at all. Algorand, assumption, if you are chosen by FIFA, which also makes me wonder if they're also a venture capital coin. If you get chosen by FIFA, I feel like that should kind of be your angle. Like, make a commercial about football and make it so that, like, hey, hear me out here. Fans are trying to get into the stadium, but they can't do it because they're using Solana because it's garbage. Or they're trying to use Ethereum, but, the fees are spiking because everyone's going crazy over the metaverse. And then people are like, hey, you can also pay an Algorand. And that, becomes, you call up FIFA and say, hey, girl, what's going on? And you guys have a whole conversation and, It feels nonsensical to have done something like this. And it made popular news because there are people who like Algorand and other people who thought it was clever. But the same exact way that we have people who are delusional and thinking that Bitcoin is not the number one coin, this is kind of in the same kind of like air of like, oh, why'd you do this thing? Even crazier. The guy Anthony Scaramucci, who's constantly in the news because he literally goes on to CNBC and he's like, I like Bitcoin go high. That sounds like a joke. It's literally basically what he does. Also, Anthony Scaramucci appears in a cameo at the end asking how to join the Algorand checkout line. For those of you who don't know, For those of you who are blissfully unaware, Anthony Scaramucci is kind of like a Bitcoin maximalist as well. Or rather, he's often touted as one in many different ways, at least from the past, from everything he was saying, talking about Bitcoin, how amazing it was, the cryptocurrency space. He was an advocate for the Bitcoin ETFs, et cetera, et cetera. So to appear in an ad knocking Bitcoin, talking about Algorand, which no one is using. Some commentators on Twitter later pointed out hypocrisy after Scaramucci posted on Twitter that a Solana ETF was next just hours after the ad went live. I mean, anything for a buck, right? So, yeah. I wish some days that we just didn't have ridiculous news, but I think it wouldn't be the cryptocurrency space without it. So, I look forward, let's see, June, July, August. I hope we get an avalanche of Algorand news so that they can back up, this advertisement, because there's no. Like we have had more news this year about Litecoin being a preferred payment option. For those of you who were not here, we had about 6 times this year, which was also a little odd, that there are multiple payment websites and all these places you can pay and send remittances and stuff. Apparently, Litecoin is like the popular choice over even Bitcoin and Ethereum on a number of these apps. Why Litecoin? I wish I could tell you. Where the news came from? All over the place. Why Litecoin once again? Algorand was nowhere on that list. So unless Algorand is going to try to become the next big payment option, it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's the Algorand Foundation news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in yay news, the Japanese e-commerce giant Mercari, Mercari, has taken another step into the crypto space by launching Ethereum trading services on their app. So you can buy stuff in a market, but also trade Ether. That makes sense. The Japanese media outlet CoinPost reported the firm unveiled the service for Mercari users on the 21st of May. Okay. Mercari says it is Japan's biggest marketplace. It operates a flea market platform in the same vein as things like eBay. And then there's just a photo of, it says a man uses a smart courier machine to send a Mercari parcel. Why is this here? In recent years, the firm has pivoted toward crypto. It launched a crypto exchange that it has integrated with its marketplace app. Whoa. This company has a cryptocurrency exchange and they're just listing Ethereum? What was it just Bitcoin? The exchange has proven a success. A survey conducted last year found that newer Japanese crypto users were more likely to use the crypto exchange or its e-commerce rival Rakuten than the platforms of more established crypto players. Sure. So cool. If you're in Japan and you've just entered 2017 and you're looking for a way to trade Ethereum, aren't there? What's that other one? There's some Japanese company that does cryptocurrency trading, and their ad, I'm not joking, it's a woman like laying in gold, and she's dressed in gold, and the background is gold, and she's like holding up a golden Bitcoin. It's very, very odd. They've been around for a while. So cool. I would love to have a conversation to figure out how this happened or why it took so long. So yay, Japanese Ethereum news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in nonsense news, I don't know when this is ever going to end. I wish I had an answer for you. A lot of companies right now have realized that Tether's kind of the popular kid in school and is being, used a lot and traded. Not that would happen in school. Anyway, the point is, Tether is very popular, and last 3 months have been a little gross and weird, where everyone keeps spreading negative news about Tether and none of it ends up being true. So the issue is that we've found out that it's actually from a number of news platforms and companies. Visa and MasterCard also said something negative. We had the fake news from China, which also isn't popping up anymore because they realized it was fake, and about 1 or 2 other places. But every time Tether news comes out, it ends up being popular, so not quite popular, but a little bit to the side, because I think people want to desperately believe bad news more than anything good, and this is probably why we have a lot of people not buying when prices are low, because I'm not really sure. Crypto exchange Kraken has stated that it has no plans to delist Tether in Europe, contrary to a recent report suggesting the firm was actively reviewing the decision to remain legally compliant. Kraken continues to list USDT in Europe, and we have no plans to delist at this time. This was said by Mark Greenberg, Kraken's global head of asset growth and management, in a Twitter post. Greenberg emphasized that the firm will adhere to all legal requirements, even those it disagrees with. But the rules are not finalized yet, and we continue to do everything we can to continue to offer all relevant stablecoins to our European customers. So Bloomberg basically falsely reported once again that something was wrong with Tether and that it was going to be delisted. And then the news became, well, now crypto exchanges are going to have to delist Tether because something's wrong with it. And because the internet works the way that it does, the people who said that they were going to do the thing, who got the news that they were supposed to, literally were like, nope, we're not doing that. So it is gross. I think gross is probably the most accurate word, that these companies took so long to, and I dare say, realize the value of things in the cryptocurrency space and are just constantly resorting to lying about Tether, lying about Bitcoin, lying about Ethereum, lying about XRP and everything else to try and get people on their side. I don't know exactly what it is. So no, Tether's not being delisted anywhere. It's Tether. I don't know if you know what Tether is, but it's kind of a big deal, and I think that's the problem that a lot of companies and countries have, because they wanted to make their own. They're trying to make their own, and no one's using their own. Remember, I told you at the beginning, you must remember, at the beginning of the year when I was like, hey, this company's making a stablecoin backed by gold. Oh no, it collapsed. Hey, another company's making a stablecoin. Oh, also already collapsed. They keep making stablecoins, trying to become more popular than Tether, but, just be nice. The people from Tether thus far have been completely honest and open with us. They literally have audits on their assets every 24 hours because a couple of news publications kept on lying to them about their assets. That's the Tether news. Moving along. Also in popular news for some reason within the cryptocurrency space, Federal Reserve officials have grown increasingly worried about the nature of inflation, as revealed in the minutes from the 30th of April to the 1st of May policy meeting on the Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC. The minutes, just released on Wednesday, indicated that policymakers lacked the confidence to move forward with interest rate reductions due to the lack of progress in bringing inflation down to the targeted 2% rate. If you were not here a couple of days ago when I ranted and raved, there is a 0% chance that inflation is going back down to 1 or 2%. The problem is that every country is in a tremendous amount of debt. the US of A is even more indebted than every other place that's out there. And part of the problem is that, and for those of you who don't know, in order to pay back debts, do you know what countries do? I'll give you one hint. It starts with a P. They print money. Yeah, congratulations. They print as much money as they need every month to be able to actually pay off a fragment of their debts, knowing that they're never going to actually be able to pay them back. The issue is that more debt ends up being taken out and more money gets printed. The more money that gets printed to pay off the debts, the higher inflation goes. Inflation will not come down. These people are lying as much as they possibly can. I literally was just talking with a friend on Instagram. I sent him a video about inflation, and I mean, he went off. I was really shocked. He was telling me about, because he's in the States, he was telling me about prices in supermarkets and restaurants and all, like how everything has become so much more expensive. So he said, I think he was talking with his mother. I forgot what was going on. And he was telling me that like they like literally sat down and like wrote down the numbers of like where things used to be a year ago and where they currently are now, how much his rent was a year ago and where it is now, how much his car payment is, his insurance, etc., etc. And he was like, it's not even close to 5%. He's like, it's around 24, 25. And he's like, it gets even crazier when you look at the inflation rate over the course of the last like 5 years. So if you look from 2019 year on year to where we are now, he was like, the Fed numbers say around 25 to 30%. You know, these are the numbers that they gave us. And, oh, yeah, inflation's going down. But he was like, if you look at it, like prices have nearly tripled, like for so many different, I mean, anyway, the point is, so this is popular crypto news because it has to do with the idea of lowering interest rates. People, much like the ETF news, have become quite obsessed with the idea that the cryptocurrency market won't move until interest rates are lowered. It makes sense, but it's also not completely logical because we as a market do move based off of other things. But upon hearing the news that the Fed might not be lowering interest rates this year, it became a cause of concern for a lot of people within the space. I wish I could pat you on the head and say that everything would be okay because it's going to be. I think people push so much fear into the cryptocurrency market to make us believe that we need one specific thing to happen for anything else to happen. And it's just not what it is, because if that was the case, we'd still be at a $6,000 Bitcoin. So cool. We probably might not only have any interest rate drops, even though there are multiple banks still saying they believe that one or two will happen this year. If we do have an interest rate drop, inflation is going to skyrocket, because even with the current economic blah blah blahs that they're doing right now, inflation, their numbers are not going down. So the moment they have to lower interest rates, because I don't know if you've noticed, the economy's not doing so hot. And I mean like across the board, like jobs and job numbers and joblessness and all the other, you know, the firings going on. It's because of the high interest rates, and companies are trying to find a way to appease their investors. And the way that you do so is by firing people. Yep, that's the system we live in. You fire people to show your investors and holders of the company, well, we got rid of, 400 positions, and we pay each person a wage of 60, 70, 80,000 per year. Therefore, multiply that. The company has now saved X millions of dollars. And that's why the stock market valuations of a lot of these companies have been going up. It's because they've been firing people. So we have ourselves in a literal spiral that the Fed cannot get out of. And this is why you're seeing so many people get into Bitcoin. This is why you're getting news of the central banks and the other companies who are buying tons of Bitcoin. If just in case you were wondering why now it's happening, because they know what's taking place. The average person has no idea. The average person also doesn't even understand what inflation really is. They understand that things keep going up while their wages aren't going up. Also, pay attention to the fact that wages are also not going up. is the employers having to match the numbers of inflation. They are like literally required to do so, because otherwise you would notice even more, and then people would you know what would happen. So yeah, a lot of inflation news, a lot of interest rate news. We'll see what ends up happening. Like I always say, we have no choice. Time moves forward. I was not expecting an interest rate drop just because whatever. But at the beginning of the year, we kept on hearing that there were going to be 4 of them. So I was like, cool, we're going to have 4 interest rate drops. Now the number appears to be 1 or 2. I'm going with the number 0. Maybe they'll surprise us, the same exact thing, with the Ethereum ETFs, but not really counting on it. So sometime next year, when we have an inflation rate in the United States of around 6-7%, and Bitcoin's like at $210,000, it's going to make a lot more sense because, they can't get out of it. There's no way. They've been trying for 3 years. There's no way to get out of this spiral now. So I'm always hoping that people are paying attention. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.